concepts in Chapter 5, I think we're through. Okay? The real important concepts in Chapter 5 that I want you guys to get is that the dominant form of databases in the world is relational databases. I want you to understand the hierarchy of data, how we go from bits to bytes to characters to columns to rows to tables and to databases. I also want you to understand what a database is made of. A database is made up of tables, the relationships, and the metadata that surrounds that. I also want you to understand what a database management system and an application system do. And we saw that when we looked at Microsoft Access. We saw things like forms and reports and queries, using SQL or the query wizard. Now, what is also in this chapter, and that I don't care so much about, or it's important stuff, but it's probably not appropriate for an MIS102 class. If you're an MIS major, you'll take a database management class and we'll discuss these things. But one thing we can do, okay, is use data models to describe the data. And there's different kind of notation for that. And we talk about things like a one-to-many relationship or a many-to-many relationship, and there's different methodologies to diagram that. These are called data flow diagrams, but we're not going to go through this. So it's in Chapter 5, but I'm telling you, you don't have to be concerned with it. What you do have to be concerned with is the concept of something called normalization. Okay, normalization sounds like some kind of psychology word. We're like trying to normalize you like you're like the rest of the people. But what normalization is the process of converting poorly structured tables into a good relational database design. Okay, and I want to show you an example of this. Okay, so the goal is to construct tables with data about a single theme or entity to minimize data integrity problems. And I want to show you, I think I have it out here, an example of this process. And I want you to help me with this. So if I go to Chapter 5, and I go to Concert Promoter, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm going to publish it anyways. Let us say, okay, that I am a concert promoter, okay, and I want to store information about the concerts I promote. So I said, well, let's go to a list structure. Let's use a list structure to do so. Because I want to keep track of the artist, the genre of the artist, every event they have, their appearance fee, the event date, the start time, the performance time, the venue name, all those things. All right? Here's the problem with using this structure. Remember, a list is good for when we're storing information about a single theme. If the venue name changed, okay, if the Pine Bowl Coliseum, maybe we got a donor, maybe John Miko gave $5 million, and we wanted to rename the Pine Bowl Coliseum in Loretto here to the John Miko Coliseum. Where would we have to change that data? Where would I have to change that data? How many records would I have to change that data?
4.
Okay, the last 4, right? That's a problem. Okay, that's a problem. That's a problem because if you think about it, that's redundant data. Like that name is stored 4 places. I really don't want it stored 4 places. If it changes, I want to change it one place only. Let's say I delete the Alan Jackson concert, okay, in the Grand Ole Opry. When I delete that record, we say Alan Jackson isn't going to perform in the Grand Ole Opry, so that performance isn't going to happen. When I delete that row, what also do I lose? Not just that Alan Jackson isn't going to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. What do I also lose when I delete that row? I lose all the information about the venue, the Grand Ole Opry, right? The Grand Ole Opry didn't get deleted. It still exists, doesn't it? Just because Alan Jackson's not performing there, it still exists. So if I delete that row, though, hey, I don't have any information about the Grand Ole Opry, okay? So if you think about this, this is known as a non-normalized table. I just try to throw all kind of stuff in a list structure, and it becomes unmanageable. We have what's called redundant data that is stored multiple places and doesn't need to be. We have modification problems. If we delete the Alan Jackson row 5, or row 6, what happens is we lose the Grand Ole Opry. So knowing what you know about relational databases, fix it for me. Help me fix this. What's wrong with this structure? And that fixing it to a structure that stores one entity or one theme in one table, that's called normalization. Help me fix this. How can I fix this? Give me a way I can fix this. Knowing what you know about databases. Lance, thank you.
Put the artist information in one table and the venue information in another.
All right, but I like what Lance is saying. He said, you know what? Let's put the artists separate, right? They are a theme. Artists are a theme, right? We don't need to store, 50 Cent 7 places. 50 Cent is an artist. So we can have a table that says artist, yes? And in the artist table, we would have things like what? Give me some things we'd have. What's the first thing we need in any table, Lance?
Name.
We need name, you're right. So we'd have artist name. So 50 Cent went to 51 Cent. We'd have to change it here, right? What else? What do we always need in every table?
Primary key.
We need a primary key. So we would have an artist ID. And in this table, we would store, the genre. They might have multiple genres, I guess, but we would store the genre. And any information about artists, right? Whatever it might be. Okay? That's one table we need, for sure. What would be another table? So that helps us. What would be another table we would need in this deal? That helps. That's step one. You're right. So now, if this event goes away, Alan Jackson in Nashville, we still have Alan Jackson, right? If Alan Jackson or Neil Diamond changes his name, why would he do that? I don't know. But or he changes his address or his genre, we don't have to change it one place. Go ahead, Katie. You had your hand up.
I was just going to say we could have like a table for about the event.
Okay. So each event is a thing, right? Each event is a thing. So if Alan Jackson doesn't play in Nashville, I just delete the event, or I mark it closed, or whatever it is. I don't have to delete the Grand Ole Opry. So we have an event. And what are the things that go with events? Well, I need an event ID for sure. So this is events. So I need event ID. Some things that I need about the event name. Okay, the name of the event. The date, very good. Probably the time, yes. Things like that. I need, I guess the fee would go with the event. The appearance fee would go with the event. Start time, performance time, all those things would have to go. What else do we need that goes along with an event, though? Two things that go along with an event. Now we have, hey, there's a name of the event, here's a start time, but it's like a class almost. Think about a concert's like a class. We need to bring together, okay, we have that. What else do we have to bring together for that concert to happen? Okay. All right, so we need an artist, right? Well, who the hell's performing? It might be multiple artists. Okay, we might have multiple artists, one, artist two, because sometimes they're opening, right? But what do we need in this table to point to this table? What would we need?
Foreign key.
Yeah, we would need art ID here to point to this. And if we say, well, sometimes we have 3 or 4 people, we need art ID 1, art ID 2, art ID 3, right? And then they all point back to this. So that's one thing we need. What else? What else? So now we have an artist and an event. So what else would we need to bring together for that to happen?
Venue.
We need a venue. Well, I could put the venue here, but then I have the same issue. If I get rid of the Alan Jackson concert, right, I get rid of the Grand Ole Opry, and I don't want to get rid of the Grand Ole Opry. So what do you suggest I do, Brandon?
Make it a table.
Make it its own table. So we would have a venue table, yes, a venue table, and it would have a venue ID, venue name. We would have maybe the capacity, the city it's in, whatever it is, okay? And this is the primary key. We would point to a venue ID here as a foreign key. And now we're starting to bring those things together. Now I don't have it in my table, but what would be the next step? So now we have artists coming together at venues doing events, right? Doing these concerts, I guess events or concerts. What would be the next step? What would be the next step? I don't really have that up here. I think I've covered all of this, right? I've covered all of this. What would be the next step logically in the business world? Great. Alan Jackson's going to be at the Grand Ole Opry on this date and time, but what else has to happen for that concert to happen? It would be very lonely without these people. We need an audience, right? So, how would I integrate that?
Ticket sales.
Okay. So I would have customers, right? And let's say I'm Ticketmaster or whoever the hell it is. I would have customers. And in that customer table, I would have a customer ID, I would have their name, I would have their address, I would have their credit card information, I'd have all that stuff. And we'd only have to store those customers one place. Now, what would happen when they want to buy, and they could buy tickets to multiple concerts, multiple events, right? So we need a table that kind of ties these things together. We'd have a table, kind of like the registration table, we'd call it a ticket table. So it would have ticket ID, it would have customer ID, and it would have event ID. And maybe there's a price there or something like that. But this would tie a customer to an event. Does that make sense? So you see how these things come together. Now what's the beautiful thing? These are called normalized tables because now we don't have redundant data entry. When we delete one row, if we deleted something, it doesn't affect the others. Everything is stored at its theme level, at its entity level, they call that. This is what we mean by the process of normalization. So normalization is converting poorly structured tables into two or more well-structured tables. We took that poor table and constructed it into three, and then we said, hey, we can go even further, and we can make it, what we make, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tables. Construct tables without a single theme or entity to minimize data integrity problems. Data integrity is a good word. Data integrity problems occurs when we produce incorrect, inconsistent information. When things happen, we lose confidence in the information. Remember, information systems are only good as the data that goes into them. We often use this, garbage in, garbage out, when we talk about information systems, GIGO. If the garbage goes in, the information that's synthesized on the back end is going to be out. It's kind of like your body, garbage in, garbage out, right? So it can only occur if data are duplicated. So our design or our goal, okay, our goal in this process is to, in normalization, is to produce normalized tables. Tables about a single theme or entity. I'm not going to make you do those, okay? Sometimes in the past I've given you a non-normalized table and I said break it out. I don't think I'm going to make you do that, but I want you to understand the process of normalization. And if you hear that word, I want you to understand what that is. So really that concludes chapter 5, okay? That includes the components of chapter 5 that I want to discuss. So we're not going to have much time left, but as you guys were presenting, as I saw Katie, I thought of a great idea, at least I think it's a great idea, for your final project. Well, what's all those sighs for? After midterm break, I'm gonna design it over mid-semester break. But here's what we used to do. One of
Is
our
this a new idea you have, or did you
Yeah,
always
just
have
brand
a
new.
final?
Yeah,
You always had a final project or not?
you always had a final project, yeah. But it was, well, it doesn't matter. Your opinion means nothing. So it's not fine by you. Thing on the bottom of the syllabus says, subject to change at the instructor's discretion. This guy. So you could have 20 exams that I made up, and you kill me on my idea evaluation, but once again, tenure. So, anyways, here's what I'm thinking we're going to do. We always do a group project at the end, and we talk about implementing an information system. But sometimes, you know, those things are limited, and since you guys are all kind of pulling off these Kickstarter ideas and like these Kickstarter ideas and the quirky Kickstarter videos, I think we're going to do it along those themes. Yes, no?
What does that mean?
What do I mean? I mean, you're gonna have to come up with, in a group, a Kickstarter idea. Like an idea for an information system. And it's gonna make you make a video, like a Kickstarter video where they're awful. But you guys now have laptops that have cameras on them and all those things, and bring that together and present that to the class. It's still a work in process, it's still in my head, but I think I'm gonna go that way. No? You don't like that?
So it's a group
That'd be
project?
It's gonna be a group project, yeah. Matt, you don't like it? Why not?
What was the original?
Yeah, what's the original?
The other option is still a group project where you do an information system implementation. I mean, you'll see in chapter 10 we get to like the phases in the project. I talk about feasibility, technical feasibility. It's not a whole lot different actually.
Do we have to write with this new one?
I gotta think about that. I think I'd make it more of a pitch.
Right.
I like that.
I would
Um,
Instead of, the other one was more of a report, this would be more of like a pitch. Alright. I gotta think about it. Okay, I gotta go back and look at the old assignment and see how I can modify it to be more aligned with this. It is an old assignment, I've been doing that one for like 5 years.
How many people could be in a group?
Well, the thing is, you're probably right now thinking who's gonna be my partner,
Yeah.
right? I select your teams. So.
Oh, that's
Wait, really?
nice. Oh, some people are outgoing though, other than
Well, I know that. What I usually do is I build teams this way. Everyone on the team gets someone that has an A in the class right now. So every team has one of those. Every team is going to have at least one male and one female. Usually, I try to break up like by major if I have enough. Like everyone gets an MIS or computer science major. Everyone gets a marketing or management major. So I make these teams that are like very diverse, very diverse. Why do I not want you guys to pick your own teams?
I don't know.
Think of one reason
that. It'd be a
why.
lot easier.
But see, if we
I know it
pick
is.
our own teams, it would be more realistic if we were actually developing something for Kickstarter because you get to go in with who you want to if you're actually developing.
That's a good point, Karen.
It'll
You
be
make a good
assigned.
argument. That's a good argument. See, my argument to that would be, do I get to pick who I work with?
Oh. But if
Chose
you're
to
developing a
come
new
here.
project,
If
you
you
could
wanted
change.
to,
If you had an idea, you would
Really?
pick who you wanted to work with.
you get paid.
Not really, no.
Why not?
Because I think it'll be a better outcome of like a product and like a better like.
You made a good point. You made a good point. When you start something brand new, like an entrepreneurial effort,
Yeah.
you do kind of select your team in that, right?
Because you
I
don't
mean,
go in on something with someone.
You made a good point. You made a good point. I don't know, it could be convinced. Normally though, when you're hired by a company, right, you work with whoever you work with, right? They say, this is the marketing person, you work with them, this is our tech guy. You may not like them, they may have body odor and everything else, but you have to work with them, right?
But you're also hired for a reason.
What do you mean?
Meaning like they want you there.
Yeah, but
Like,
do you not think, I have never worked with people that I'm like, oh my God, this is a difficult person to work with, oh my gosh, that is so important.
yeah.
To be able to work with difficult people.
But you're not
people-
creating something.
Yeah, I got your point, that was a very good point, that was well made.
It's,
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs don't have to go into a company like that. They work on their own, and they can choose who they work with.
Yeah, but then we have 30 things. Like, I'm not letting you do it alone, Matt. Is that what
No,
I'm?
I'm
no,
saying
no,
like,
like we get
at
to choose
least
who we work
two.
with.
Like saying,
Almost
something like that.
Like
Groups with at least
people.
2, max 4.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
People with
like-
Brandon made a good point. He said some people don't have any friends.
Well, that's
People
when
need
you add up
assigned
the
friends.
groups, 'cause if it's like minimum 2 up to 4, people have like 2 people in a group and someone doesn't have a partner, then they can just like,
Or I could assign and allow 1 trade. How's that? 2 trades.
I just think it'll be better done if
I'll let the
we
market
choose
draft.
who we work with.
All right, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I'll think
You
about
have
it.
a draft list.
Yeah, draft. We could do a draft list. I could pick team captains. We could have a draft.
I like that idea.
But then if your last one picked,
Yeah, the last one.
Well, you just tell people
That's
no
sad.
You
until.
get like bonus points for the last one.
You don't let people know until the drafts are done.
Yeah, you get those new captains together,
Everyone
and
just
they
like
do it in
goes.
secret. The last person picked has no idea they were last.
Frank is on the clock.
Yeah.
In the 3rd round, he goes with. Oh, that's a bad pick. That's gonna cost him. All right, well, we'll think about it. I appreciate your input as always.
I have questions on this.
Have a good break. Yeah, if you have questions on your access, stick around and I'll come over and help you.
Yeah.
So when you're
Yeah, so go down.
Great, great.
So you want to change it to number. No, just change it to number, say number.
Okay.
And then down here in field size.
He
select
plays.
ball manager. Make it single.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, so wait, that was there. Is there like an actual?
You say, I actually took mine to do my thing. I will.
Yeah, it's on platform.
The Giants seek
Yeah.
and
And there's, I recorded
shut out
the video as
last
well.
week.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. What about?
Yeah. Student gender.
Yeah.
Gender is text.
Full text,
So
right?
short text?
Full text is fine, yeah.
Okay.
Is this our most interesting?
I think we get 34 out of 10.
Yeah. That's not the easiest to do.
Oh, no. She put our, IGA put it in the wrong.
I was assuming it was.
Yeah, it was down there. My IGA put it in the wrong thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're not.
So I'm gonna move that over.
Okay, you're not having B.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you can help me with this?
What is that?
Field specifications?
For what?
We have to like.
What
figure
class?
out MIS.
Oh, okay. So are you an MIS major?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know
Recently.
So
I'll look at that second, yeah.
combo box values?
Yeah, so no, go to look up.
Okay, that's what I did originally.
And go down to combo box. And go to, set a table query there. Go down to value list.
See, that's when it gets value.
And then do row source, do M, comma F. What do you mean as of recent? When you just changed your MIS major?
Yeah, before the semester started.
Okay. What were you before?
Marketing.
You didn't like marketing?
No.
No.
I hate marketing.
I'm better at accounting and computer science.
So you're counting in MIS? Oh, okay, well, that's good. That's a powerful grouping, actually.
So for us,
Yeah, it is.
Now, if I do.
It's some of it's counting in MIS.
yeah.
Column? Column, right? No.
So if I'm putting res ID in students also, do I have to make it auto number?
No, so here it'll just be, in here it'll be auto number.
Mhm.
Here it'll just be number.
Here it'll just be number.
Yeah.
And then it says field of.
Field of your choosing,
So what does
so
that mean?
whatever you want. Number of
Okay.
siblings, height, weight.
For residents? Like, isn't it residents?
No, this is, you're in the student table.
Okay.
So you're storing fields about students, so hair color, I don't care what you put.
Alright.
You know what I mean? 2 fields that you create yourself.
Student
Uh,
major?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, well, here's my question. This is what he's telling us to do. For skill,
So you have Shannon for this?
yes. Well, here's all my list of fields, pretty much.
Okay, primary key, what's CCK mean?
The, closet Kansas key.
Oh, okay, I've never used that. All right, go ahead.
Um,
Oh, I know what it is, I know what it is, okay, all right.
basically what he's saying, for this part of submission, we'll be submitting forms for each field, so that means each of these fields need to have a form, correct? Is that what he's
Seems
saying?
like a lot.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
For your table, once you're storing your user data, demographic information for a patient center, please include a series of field specifications. You must include at least one generic, one replica text in your collection. Note, for the generic template, only the general ones in the field. Ones can be created as a light one. This process will be submitting forms for each field in your table. Plus one I think you pick one table
Okay.
and submit field specification forms for each of those, plus one generic field that you've identified. I
Okay.
guess he means made up, is that what he means? By generic
I'm
field?
assuming.
Okay. Let's see what's the specification.
This is what I did for last name so far.
Okay, last name. Now, input mass would be, input mass would be like, if it, when, remember like the phone numbers, the social security numbers have the input mass? So I don't know if it would, I don't know if last name would have an input mass, you know what I mean?
Okay, the only thing I thought it meant is how it would look, so I just capitalized the first letter.
Oh,
The
okay.
rest lowercase m.
I'm thinking he wants there like the,
Numbers and stuff.
yeah, like if you're gonna enter it in.
This is the example he gave us, and that's why I
Okay.
did like
Oh,
the
okay.
ID. So this is for like the ID. This is how it would look.
So he must mean, must be an input mask that's first name, last name, X. That's like the name of the input mask, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the specification, is there? Are you guys, what database are you guys using there? Access or Oracle or? Um, Yeah, I think you need I think if you're, like, I think of the tables you're using, I think he wants you to choose one of them. And whatever table that is, then every field in that table, you need to do one of these for. So not all the tables, but just one of the tables, I
Right.
think what he's saying.
One.
Do you ever go to him for help?
I didn't, well, I did for the other two things that we used today.
Okay. Good hard class. Yeah.
Okay, now that I'm gonna double check I have everything.
You're learning it?
Check that.
So, yeah. So, yeah, that makes more sense, but.
Okay.
All
Sure. Five then, yeah.
Let's see, I have.
right, well, thank you.
Sure.
Sorry. For short date, is it just date and time? Is that the same difference? Oh, no.
You're gonna do,
Resident.
yeah, you're gonna do,
I'm okay.
date time, yeah, maybe a short day, okay,
Yeah.
good. Now go to format.
Almost. I don't get to go home till tomorrow, though.
Yeah, go down.
So
I have,
See short day.
stupid.
Spanish
I have to go
for my lab.
in my lab. So I did, well, I did long tests and then long measure.
And sometimes I regret
Yeah.
signing.
Then use what
Then I'm
number
like,
there? How long?
then
Number.
you realize
And
it's
then
all work.
Then long answer.
Well, this one was the number of months.
I mean, that's worth it. It's
got
got
a
So
short
this is
time.
beginning time, so you're gonna do date time,
Date time.
Definitely
and
worth
then
it.
you format.
All I need
You're
is
gonna do
cover page, my lab,
short time.
and
Got it. Got it.
two
All right.
sheets.
I'll probably email you.
What, questions or?
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
double
sure.
checking.